and we start with Lauren Sisler live in Athens.
Hey, Chris, you alluded to it there, that this is going to be the toughest challenge for Alabama all season long. And really coming into this game, Georgia mirrors a lot of what Alabama does. And one matchup that we will look at for tomorrow is the running backs. Starts with Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb. And when you talk about Georgia's running back, Nick Chubb, he's fast, he's physical, and he has gone streaking as of late. He's got a 12-game streak of 100-plus yards. And what makes Nick Chubb so good is ability to find holes and burn up defenses. Nick Saban has the scouting report.
He is a complete back in every sense of the word, and he's effective, in their screen game. So, you can't discount him as a receiver in any way, shape, or form either. So, this guy is by far the best back we played against all year long, and don't discount number one either, the next guy that comes in, because he's a pretty good player as well.
Now, I recently had the chance to sit down with CBS analyst Gary Danielson, and one thing he said that stood out to me is that Nick Saban prides himself in going up against offenses like these. So we'll hear more from Gary coming up later tonight at 6 o'clock. Chris?
I'm telling you, that could be a good thing for Alabama. So the Tide that could completely change the way we look at the season for Alabama. A win at Georgia, and the Tide are back in the playoff race. A loss, and they're in serious trouble. Lauren Sisler is live on Georgia's campus. Doesn't get more simple than that, Lauren.
Yeah, Chris, it's pretty much cut and dry. And when you look at both of these teams, they offer up a lot of Nick Saban. You go to Kirby Smart and Jeremy Pruitt and what they offer up, and a lot of the same fundamentals and schemes that Nick Saban runs. And then on the other side of the football, on the offense, you've got two guys, NFL prototypes, in Brian Schottenheimer and Lane Kiffin. Alabama arriving at the team hotel just a while ago in preparation for tomorrow's game. CBS analyst Gary Danielson has one major key to victory on both sidelines.
I think the two guys calling plays are going to have to be really good at keeping that defense. I think the word that we will use is off balance. So they got to get away from obvious anything. I mean, in this game, it's going to be hard to run the ball when the other team knows you want to run it, and it's going to be hard to throw the ball when the other team knows you have to throw it. So it's going to be, I think, off balance is the word that I'm going to be saying to Vern most of the game.
And another thing that Gary said that was interesting to me is right now Georgia looks more like Alabama than Alabama does right now. So certainly interesting concept there. We'll have more of that coming up on the Red Zone. But for now, this place behind me, it's about to get bumping.
Yeah, it is a much different scene than this weekend down on the Plains. Bring in Lauren Sisler now live from Athens, Georgia. She talked today with this one CBS expert on what Alabama has to do to slow down Nick Chubb tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, Chris, I talked to Gary Danielson, but also talked to a lot of fans around here. These fans out here on Broad Street are getting wild tonight. The streets covered up with Georgia fans and Alabama fans. Now, Nick Chubb is somebody I call beast mode. You said it before. 12 straight games of 100-plus yards. Pretty impressive stuff from him. But here's the deal. Alabama on defense are allowing just 56.8 yards rushing per game. They haven't allowed anyone to rush for 100 yards this season, much less allow a team to rush for more than that many yards as a unit. CBS analyst Gary Danielson says tomorrow, though, will be the ultimate test.
Quarterback Grayson Lambert can't run out of his shadow. Their tailback lines up 7 yards behind him, and he's going to run the ball. And there's going to be no fooling anybody in this football game, and there's going to be no excuses. This defense was built to stop an offense just like this. And if they don't, I think there's going to be a lot of doubt for Alabama fans is why not? What happened? I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't think after the game they're going to say, well, they tricked us.
Alabama can't discount Georgia's ability to pass the football either. When Grayson Lambert does throw the football, he is efficient. 76.5 completion percentage, and that is indicative of that. So another matchup we'll be watching, receivers versus the Tide secondary. It'll be interesting, but I got to imagine that 2 to 3 inches of rain will play a big factor in this game tomorrow. Chris?
Run the football and do not turn the ball over. Meanwhile, the mood, but there might be a whole different aspect to this game. That's what we're overlooking, perhaps, and for that we bring back in Lauren Sisler live in Athens. She's been doing the research on this all day, right, Lauren?
Yeah, Chris, we've heard from Nick Saban and Mark Richt talking all week about how both of these offenses are really going to focus on the run game, but they also can't discount what they can do through the air, especially Jake Coker. You get the ball rolling early, you move the ball on the ground, and you might expect to see him open it up with some play action throughout much of the football game down the road. Now, that opens it also up for guys like Richard Mulvaney to have another breakout performance like he did against Ole Miss. Despite being the underdog, though, for the first time in 72 games, the Tide are taking motivation from this.
I wouldn't say exciting. I would say it's fueling us more than anything. You know, we look at that as, you know, people obviously doubting us, and you know, I feel like that just fuels us.
Losing Robert Foster for the season, a huge blow for this team. These guys will get their chance now to be impact players and get some of that explosive firepower back on offense. We've seen a lack of those explosive plays, but expect some of that play action maybe mixed in, depending, of course, on the weather and how things go. That will be a big key. Turnovers, hold on to the football will be a big key, and crowd noise. That's something Alabama has worked on. They said on Thursday they went to the drawing board, they went to practice, turned up the crowd noise to try to get ready for this. And I got to tell you, the streets here in Athens, there's a lot of crowd noise out here. Alabama fans, Georgia fans, all enjoying themselves. All the restaurants and bars back here covered up. Lots of traffic. And as you can hear, lots of fans yelling, "Go Dogs, Roll Tide." We got them all. It's a good time out here, Chris.
Hey, it's going to be an intimidating atmosphere, but before we move on here, one more